Hey guys, so today we're going to be working on solving two-step equations. The reason why we have the name two-step equations is because we will be doing two steps in order to get our variable by itself. Our first example here, 8x plus 7 equals 31. When we solve equations, we have to work backwards or use inverse operations. If you recall from evaluating expressions or evaluating, we use PEMDAS. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. We're going to be working backwards to an extent in order to solve two-step equations. What I always tell my students first is to draw a line where our equal sign is. Keeping things balanced, think of an equation as a balance beam. Whatever I do to the left-hand side, I must do to the right-hand side in order to keep things balanced. If I only do something to the left-hand side, my balance beam would get off balanced. So my goal is to get the variable by itself here. Okay, I have 8x plus 7 equals 31. If you notice, I'm multiplying the variable by 8, and then I'm adding 7 to it. To work backwards, I would have to find what's furthest away from the variable on that side of the equal sign. So in this example, the 7. We are adding 7, so the opposite of addition is subtraction. So I would subtract 7 from the left-hand side as well as from the right-hand side. Whatever's left on the left-hand side just gets brought down. So in this case, 8x gets brought down. Positive 7 minus 7 is equal to 0. It goes away. And on the right-hand side, 31 minus 7 equals 24. If you notice, I keep the equal sign lined up with this line here. I never move the equal sign. Now, again, to get x by itself, x is being multiplied by 8. The opposite of multiplication is division. I must divide the left side by 8 as well as the right side. Any number divided by itself equals 1. We don't write 1 when we write x here. 1x and x are the same thing. Remember, it doesn't equal 0. 8 divided by 8 equals 1. So we say it cancels out or divides out. And 24 divided by 8 is equal to 3. If I had to check my answer, I would plug 3 in for x, and I would evaluate using order of operations to see if it equals 31. 31 equals 31, checks out, which means that my answer is x equals 3. The next example here, negative 9x plus minus 13 equals negative 103. Again, start with the line where my equal sign is. Our goal is to get x by itself. I look what's furthest away from the x on that side of the equal sign. So we have a minus 13. The opposite of subtraction is addition, so I must add 13 to both sides. Bring down whatever is untouched. A lot of students forget that it's negative 9x here. Negative 13 plus 13 cancels out, it equals 0. And negative 103 plus 13 is negative 90. Now, I'm trying to get x by itself. The operation between this is multiplication. It's not subtraction here. It's negative 9x. When they're written right next to each other, it means multiplication. So I would divide by negative 9. Negative 9 divided by negative 9 cancels out or divides out. X equals negative 90 divided by negative 9 is positive 10, and negative divided by negative is a positive. And our final answer is 10 here. Again, if I were to check my work in my original, I would have to make sure that they formed a true equation. And the last example here, x divided by 9 equals 1, minus 1 equals 2. We're trying to get x by itself. It's being divided by 9, and then we are subtracting 1. So let's deal with the 1 first. The opposite of subtracting 1 is adding 1. Again, I would add 1 to both sides. Remember to bring down the x divided by 9. Negative 1 plus 1 cancels out or equals 0. 2 plus 1 is 3. Here's where the most common mistake happens. A lot of students still think that they would divide by 9 here. No. Division and multiplication are inverses of each other. So if something is being divided by 9, we would have to multiply it by 9 to undo that operation. If I multiply the left side by 9, I have to multiply the right side by 9. Multiplying a term that you're dividing by the same number, it cancels out or divides out. We're left with x equals 3 times 9 is 27. Another way you could have solved this, x over 9 equals 3. You could turn this into a fraction by putting it over 1. Any whole number can be turned into a fraction by putting it over 1. And then you can cross multiply. X times x is x. The equal sign stays there, and 3 times 9 is 27. So both will give you the same answer. Again, there was two-step equations. Thanks a lot, guys.